Hey everybody, christopherodd here, and today we're doing another video on Tainted Grail. This time we're focusing on the campaign, and I did dabble in the campaign many months back when I first got a hold of this game in like early alpha. Apparently, there's been a lot of updates, and I'm ready to check it out. Again, we're just going to do a little teaser, probably like, I'm thinking the first 30 minutes or so of the campaign to see what it's like. This is being developed kind of behind the scenes of their conquest mode, which is like an endless roguelite where you can just go in, focus mainly on battles, trying to beat this boss. Usually about 2 hours a run to do that. The story is like really heavy RPG, and that's personally what I'm most hyped for. So I'm excited to dive in here and just get a little teaser of it, if you will. Thanks again to Awaken Realms for sponsoring this series. I really appreciate it, and I'm super stoked to play this game when it comes out in full. Let's go.
Kuanacht is dying. Its barren fields provide little food, and its crumbling walls offer no protection. As the power of the Guardian Menhir fails, the weirdness creeps ever closer. Twisting places, creatures, and even space itself. Despite this, the people of the Farmhold refuse to leave. Instead, Lord Yvain led 4 of their best on a desperate mission to Kamelot. They promised to bring back help. They never returned. Now those left behind are growing desperate. They will try to bestow the burden of their fate on someone else. New heroes, with an even slimmer chance of success.
That voice actor did some voices in Bloodborne, I believe. Very good. Very good. So if you haven't heard about this game at all, it's like a dark fantasy card battling RPG. It's heavily influenced by like Arthurian culture, and I think you probably picked up on that in the intro. But it's all about like really branching narratives and different choices you can make that will impact your game. I believe when I did my first attempt at this campaign many months back, I went as Bior. I'm going to go as Ale here. I'm probably not saying that correctly. An outcast whose entire family perished in the weirdness. She makes a modest living supplying healing herbs and roots to the locals. Due to balancing issues and systems shared between campaign and conquest, both characters currently play the same. Oh, okay, doesn't even matter. If you want to see the diversity of playstyles we planned for the game, check out the conquest mode. Okay, let's do it.
The weirdness is close now. Its opalescent coils swirl on the other side of the glade. You do your best to ignore them and continue your work. You wish for a weird candle. It would have been useful in keeping the darkness at bay. You've tried to find a flesh bloodwort for hours, but nothing seems to grow here anymore, save for damn nettles. Unfortunately, Niante's bloodwort draft is the only thing to help the wounded back in the farmhold. Niante. At the thought of her name, grief washes over you. She was the mother you never had, and yet she abandoned you. Did she also believe you to be a weird spawn? A monstrosity wearing human skin? As you wipe a tear from your cheek, you notice one of the girls from Kuanacht standing at a safe distance. She looks distraught.
I could just listen to her all day. I want her to kind of narrate my life. As she'd be like, he sits there playing a video game once again in the darkness for the viewers. He appreciates their support. Of course, one day he will die, and so will they. Okay, that sorry, I went a little dark there. Come closer. I'm no witch.
The girl keeps the distance and starts speaking.
You are the next one to fulfill your duty as a member of our community. Lay an offering to our guardian Menhir foundling. Prove you belong with us.
Okay, so am I supposed to just drop everything because you said so?
You can't help but notice a faint smile on the girl's face.
Of course not, but you need to hurry. Otherwise, there will be consequences.
Let's go then. Okay, so I mean already, yeah, this is way cleaner than it was many months back. Like the visuals, I can immediately tell how improved it is.
The local Menhir now towers above you, weathered and cracked, its ribbons flapping in the wind. The thought that this tired old thing is the only protection from pure weirdness outside of Farmhold sends shivers up your spine. Menhirs, raised by Merlin himself in the Age of Conquest, are said to have different appetites. The one before you seems to best respond to fresh blood, and its thirst is not easy to quench.
Very convenient. I seem to be filled with fresh blood. Look for a sacrifice, or we can give 100 of our own health. Sacrifice, please.
The Menhir can be sated with animal blood, just as easily as with human offering. Unfortunately, livestock is now scarce and very expensive. You will need to hunt down some wild creature and drag it back to this place.
That works.
The thought of chasing prey on the edge of weirdness makes you anxious. Your eyes slide past the Kuanak's prison Brock. Maybe there is another, safer way to appease the Menhir.
Now, I remember in when I went through this for the first time many moons ago, that you could like approach the prison and convince or kill one of the prisoners and then use their blood. Let's see if we can find an animal. There's a Kuanak's brooch, the inn, the mead hall, Efrir's home, and Nianti's home. I kind of want to like just go out into the wild. Oh, here. Let's fight the crazed dog. Let's go. Right in town. Let's see if this works. Okay, so if you don't know how this game works, if you haven't seen my last 2 videos over the last 2 days or any of the previous ones I did months back, I'll give you a quick idea of how the combat works. So this is your energy in the bottom right. It costs energy to play cards, and you can see how much in the top left. There's different styles of cards, attacks, stances, spells, a whole bunch of other kinds. Right now, our cards are going to be quite basic until we start gathering them throughout gameplay. You can see health here. This little indicator is the amount of armor that we have, which reduces the damage that we take. We can go into negative armor, which would then boost the armor or boost the damage we take, and vice versa for the enemies. This also shows enemy intents. So he's going to attack 3 times. He has a chance to do 0 or 1 damage. Most likely he's going to do 1 damage. These are very basic enemies. We could put up a block, which would be nice, but it's only going to block 1 attack. However, I only have 2 attacks to use anyway. So I'm going to use both of these attacks, and then we're going to throw in this block because we're also gaining energy. This card's a little bit more rare than these others, but we gain more energy in the following round. Now, before I move on, we have this rune over here. It's the Brawler rune. And this is basically like our ultimate skill that we can use. So when we activate it, we can deal damage based on your charges that we have to 1 enemy. The passive is that we place a combo mark on an enemy each time we hit them, and then we get a charge on this every time we hit an enemy. So you can see underneath, we've got this combo building up. Once that reaches 6, that enemy becomes vulnerable and they take significantly more damage. So let's just keep building this up and we'll see if we get to activate it. This fight will probably just kill this thing very soon. So he blocked 1, he did 0, and then he did 1. Not a big deal. We've got small strike here, which is going to damage 5 to 7 times 3. Targets random enemies, but since there's only 1, we're good. This does a cleave, so we attack somebody and then it deals 20% of that damage to all other enemies. But this is just going to kill them anyways, so lay it on there. Okay, so we got food and we got the dog carcass. The hound you killed was severely malnourished, but this bloody scrap should be enough to sustain the Menhir. Let's go. Okay. So we're going to go back to the Menhir, complete that quest, and then see what kind of trouble we can get into. Here is the dog carcass.
Spill the blood at the foot of the statue. The cracked stones drink greedily. You feel the Menhirs' power surging. Once again, the weirdness is pushed back. Once again, the land returned to Kuanacht is smaller than before, barely reaching past the furthest buildings of the farmhold. Bystanders disperse, and you sit down to catch your breath. Most of the people are now heading for the mead hall to raise a toast for yet another day Kuanacht bought itself with blood.
Very cool. So, join the villagers in the mead hall. Let's head over and do that. Man, this just runs like it's so much cleaner and so much smoother than it was the first time I got to play. Okay, so this is the mead hall, also called the... Oh, here we go. Perfect.
The moods in the mead hall are sour. While relieved that the town bought some time, by now even the simplest of Kuanacht's folk realize this can only go on for so long.
Curse this place. Curse the stinking breath of Tuathon. Yvain should be back with us by now. Mayhaps he got too comfortable in Kamelot. Let's say nothing. Let them talk.
At the edge of the hall, while people begin to talk about sending someone else to find help for Kuanacht.
Silence!
Conversations cut off immediately. The crowd parts, and a massive figure pushes towards you. The maimed knight is here. Was he sitting in some far corner of the hall the entire time, or did he arrive just now?
Leave us alone.
Guards gently escort everyone but you outside, ignoring the pleas of people who just started their drinks. Guards take their posts on the other side of the door and make sure no one is eavesdropping by the outside wall. You're now alone with the knight, trying not to look at the bandages covering half of his face, or to think about unsettling stories you've heard about him.
I kept watching you today. I needed to see how well you deal with hardships and obstacles before I tell you the truth.
Lay it on me. You mean the truth that our Menhir is failing?
Is he attempting to smile with the unspoiled half of his face? Or is it an angry grin?
It would seem this secret is even worse kept than I imagined. Yes. The Menhir won't last much longer. How do you know?
Well, I felt it when I made the offering.
Another proof I was right about you.
When Lord Yvain left me in charge of this farmhold, I thought the task was beneath me. Turned out it's quite the opposite.
Looks at his bandaged hands and then turns back towards
I
you.
cannot travel outside anymore. Will you help me?
Oh, what do you want me to do exactly?
We have to find a way to strengthen the Menhir and buy more time, so that Yvain may finish his quest. Blood is not sufficient anymore. We need another source of power to lay at its feet.
Okay. The clouds of weirdness are still just outside the town. It's impossible to travel.
The knight reaches for the satchel at his side and hands you a couple of candles made from strange dark wax. You shudder. You never thought you'll have to use one of these foul things.
It's a weird candle.
Weird candles. Make every one of them count. Some more may still be bought around Kuanacht, but they get scarcer by the day. And do not make a mistake of thinking that their light turns you invulnerable. If you keep peering too long into the weirdness, it is bound to look back.
His hand touches the bandage on the side of his face. You got 5 weird candles. So these are the things that are going to push back the weirdness while we're traveling outside of this little hamlet area. Where should I look? Any ideas?
In days of old, before the purges, it was druids who took care of Menhirs. The one Yvain cast out from the city may still be alive. You may also ask someone who knows a thing or two about objects infused with magic. Your people speak about a witch in the woods to the west. Maybe she knows what could help our stone.
If you don't go out there, no one will. In weeks, the town will be swallowed whole. Don't wait until the weirdness is at your very doorstep.
You got it. We've got a task. Find either the witch or the druid and ask them for help with the Menhir. Now, I'm pretty sure when I played this before, we talked to the witch. So I'm going to try and find Can I look up like a total map here? Hidden wealth down there. Mind benders. A lot of enemies you can see. Okay. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. Find either the witch or the druid. Does it say where they were? Find the druid in his cloaken in the hills south of Kuanacht. Okay, so we're going to head south. And I think this is just showing us the path that we can go on. I wonder if this dog just attacks us on sight. Yeah, okay, cool. These are pretty quick, but easy way to build experience. And we'll have a bunch of battles on our way out here. So this one, crippling attack. If the enemy is going to attack, we'll also get a stun in. So let's throw this down. Damage is tripled if the enemy is stunned. Perfect. That'll do. And then let's not worry about blocking here. Let's go small strikes, 5 to 7 times 3. We'll do this. Oh, I should have played all in first. My bad. Maybe read the cards first, Dodd. Great idea, man. Okay. Thankfully, we didn't get hurt. Okay. Let's keep moving. So you can see like bigger enemies marked on the map. It's trivial. There's hidden wealth here we want to look for. What's warding lore? Generate magical barrier with 30 HP, which protects from foes. Yes, please. We can put in the food here, because why not? And then the blood wart heals us when we're really low. Let's put in the candles as well, so we have easy access here. We're not in the weirdness yet, but very soon we will be. Let's see what this guy has for us. Okay. He's preparing a special attack, so we're not going to get hit here, but it's probably going to be stronger next time. He's immune to being stunned. Let's toss out a bunch of damage here. So small strikes, way more efficient than the attack. Plus, we get to build a bunch of charges over here. Now he's vulnerable. So he takes 100% incoming damage for the next 2 turns. I could throw this down. I could use this even. But I want to get this extra energy going into next turn, even though the block isn't going to benefit us. I'll throw this down. Pretty sick animation, too. Okay, so now we actually don't know what he's going to do. So if we can kill him here, that would be ideal. We can't stun. We could try blocking. Let's go all in. And then we cleave. Yeah, he's toast. Okay, cool. As expected, early battles, we're crushing. Let's grab a new card. So what do we want to grab? Taunt. Reduce enemy's armor by 50 until the end of the turn. Provokes enemy to attack you, then you attack him with your base damage. That's not bad. I mean, if we're going to get attacked anyways, this is pretty good. Plus, it's a huge armor reduction. This is 5 to 7 to all enemies. Stuns all enemies. Minus 30 armor on us for 2 turns. Okay. So if we think we can finish them in 2 turns, then this is the way to go. Or we just take a heavy hit at a cost of 2, but lots of damage. Let's go with duel. Now, we can take 50 maximum HP, which is pretty solid. It's a new passive that we're picking. On 5 cards played in 1 turn, get +1 energy. That's really difficult for us to do, since we only have 3 energy right now. Heal 10 HP after every 1 combat. Also kind of nice. Let's take this one. Well-maintained body. Okay, look at this. A Reaver. Okay. Let's go north here. We're going to have another little battle. But then we're at the Druid's place already, and we can kind of see what's going on. Now, these enemies, they seem to just attack us as we're getting close, so you can't really dilly-dally too much. This guy's immune to stuns, as we just learned. I don't really have a lot that we can throw in here. Just throw in that stun. Okay. So now we're going to reduce armor. Throw the taunt on. Forces him to attack us, and then we hit back. Let's go attack here. Now he's vulnerable, and we can just finish him off. And we're going to heal up to maximum. Okay.
small stone clocken looms in the mist. Over the years, you've heard many tales about the man who lives there. Some of them were used to scare the children of Kuanacht. Soon you notice the smoke rising slowly from the hut's chimney. A group of men set up their makeshift camp by the front door. It seems they're waiting for the druid to come out.
Is that right?
Leader of the group looks at you from under his deep hood. His tattooed companions do not even honor you with a glance, but their unusual scars and crude clothing tell you everything. The Hill Tribe.
Be gone. It's your last warning.
You sure about that? Let's try and
People
chat.
who are kind enough to warn you before they unsheathe their swords are a rarity these days. You approach the group, slowly and calmly.
Wasn't I clear enough?
I can't remember if we ran into these guys as well in our first time playing through. Maybe we met with the druid and the witch. Look, it's clear you're here to get help. What's the issue?
Think you're smart, Tony? Why would you care?
There's a hint of annoyance in
You're
his voice.
walking onto something nice.
Look, I know a thing or two about charms and medicine myself. Maybe I could be of help.
I doubt you've learned a thing or two about this, priestess.
I don't know why my mind immediately goes to him like flashing us here, but
The man pulls down his hood, revealing a face twisted
Almost.
by the weirdness. One of his eyes is sagging,
cool.
his mouth turned almost vertical. His skull is misshapen. He's right. That's not something you or anybody else could cure.
Yeah, that's probably beyond our talents using plants. And so you're thinking that the druid can cure this for you?
He can. Every month we meet here, and every month he's applying an ointment to stop further change. I don't think I'll ever be cured, but at least I can keep what's left of my face.
Looks towards the door with
Too bad
resentment.
the greedy warlock won't lift a finger anymore.
Are you the only one afflicted? Okay, I don't. This story's got to be completely new because I don't remember any of this.
I'm the Thane of my clan. I went further into the weirdness than my people. I got the worst of it, but no one in our tribe is taintless now.
Only now you notice small but telling changes in both of his men. There's something wrong with their faces, and their eyes look like clouded glass.
So you're either tainted more the deeper you go or the longer that you're in it. Maybe both of those are interchangeable, but there seems to be different levels that people are affected by. So if you're just in there temporarily, it might not be so bad, but this guy went hard.
The clouds are getting thicker and thicker. Soon it will be worse.
You shudder at the thought of weird, warped bands of crazy hillmen just outside of Kuanacht.
Only pushing back the weirdness can help you. That's the reason I came here.
You explain to the man that the only chance they have is to move their village closer to the Menhirs' healing light, and that you were sent here to ask the druid whether it's possible to make it shine brighter. He's listening patiently, asking you to clarify when you use words he doesn't understand. When you're done, he looks at you for a great deal longer than it's comfortable.
Go inside then. Talk to your warlock.
Well, I will.
Call out to the druid inside and give the scarred wooden door a push. Inside the clocken, the first thing you notice is a dense smell of rotting meat and human sweat.
Thankfully, those words aren't reversed.
There's a man half laying on a bed in the corner, looking barely conscious. His hands are trembling. Once you've seen someone weaned off a drinking habit, and he looked remarkably similar to the sad individual in front of you.
Let's introduce ourselves. We don't need to be
You
rude.
shake the man's body, and after a while you see his eyes opening. He looks up at you with an absent gaze. Suddenly, he sits up on his bed and shouts,
I told you never to enter this place.
Before you can answer, he looks at you again.
Who the hell are you?
So he thought it was those other guys coming in, I think. Listen, let's ask about the Hill Tribe first.
Why are they in front of my door?
That's a very good question. Why do people stand in front of anybody's door? Do they have too much time on their hands? Do they want something from people behind these doors? Interesting. A very good question, indeed.
You catch yourself thinking whether you should punch him in the jaw or in the stomach.
I hope they'll just give up and go.
I don't see that happening. He says this gloomily. He notices your disapproving look and adds,
Don't look at me that way. Have you seen that freak of a man? Even Arctrude Imogen wouldn't be able to cure him. That's what you get from going into the weirdness. Yes, I used fear to gain a regular supply of mushrooms that I badly need to function. Seemed fair at the time. At least my ointment made me feel better. But now he wants more of this stuff. For their entire damn village, he says. For their women, children. I can't carry on with this.
okay, so we didn't get the full story there. Huh. So I used his fear to gain a regular supply of a mushroom that I badly need to function. Seemed fair at the time, but by sending him in to get that, he's the one who's like causing this. Well, okay, it is evil, but why won't you keep up the game and give him the ointment? His eyes light up for a moment.
I could really use more of their mushrooms. But the more people try the cure, the faster they learn.
Yeah, see?
It's fake. I have to think about that.
The other guy thought that it was like preventing it, but wasn't doing anything. Catches your gaze.
I do what I do. And you do what you do. You don't have to approve of me, and I don't have to approve of you. We'll be fine with that, won't we?
I guess. We need your help with our Menhirs, so I'm going to have to play your game.
I don't care.
Okay, then. Listen, the weirdness is growing closer.
Are you surprised? Didn't you know that this is exactly what happens when Menhirs go dark? Too bad there's no one left to tend them ever since your people decided that burning some of the wisest men of Avalon would be a great pastime.
His voice is so overflowing with sarcasm, you feel a sudden urge to stab him with a knife.
Soon, the Menhir is going to fade entirely, and you will all gather at its feet, clutching each other, getting plucked out one by the beasts of wilderness. And then, if anyone survives that long, you'll starve to death.
But, like, there's more and more sick people around. I'm trying to, like, try to find something that sticks with him, but...
And there will be even more. Is this my problem?
It's the last Menhir. Aren't you afraid?
It's one of the last active Menhirs on this entire island. And this means we're
Okay.
doomed. Accept your fate and the fear will disappear.
He's resolved to just give up. I see how it goes. What do you want in return for your help?
Now, that's smart. That's what I like to hear. I'll tell you what I want. I want to go back to Connacht and finally lie down in my own damn bed with enough mead and mushrooms to carry me over to the other side. In my own home. The home that was taken from me by your lord. One and only Yvain the Dickhead.
Okay. Why were you banished?
Let's just say Lord Yvain is not big on second opinions.
The druid tells you how over the years Yvain was slowly growing obsessed with a quest that would save the entire Avalon.
He claimed the Pale Lady, this rotting wench of the lake, spoke to him in his dream, telling him of some grand destiny. He thought that with a group of right men and women, he could save the land like the heroes of the Age of Legends. But all he had was a rusty sword, a dimwit smith, a fat priestess, an old traveler, and a reckless hunter. Oh, what a team they were.
The druid chuckles. For some reason that sentence creeps me out.
I tried to be the voice of reason. Told them there's no use. Yvain decided I'm scaremongering. in that I have bad influence over the townsfolk. And here I am.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Why don't we make it our mission, our goal for today is to get this guy back into Kuanacht.
Just remember, my old house, my old bed, me inside alone. No one bothering me, not now, not ever, save for the time when I run out of meat or drugs. And an apology from Yvain when you're at it.
You leave the druid's hut, still dizzy from the stench you felt inside. You look at the men patiently waiting for the druid junkie to let them in.
You got what you wanted from the warlock?
Well, I don't know if we should tell this guy. I'm not going to say anything.
At least you tried, and that's commendable. Did he say anything about us, if
Oh, God.
I may ask?
I choose silence.
I understand. A deal is a deal.
Yikes.
You may go.
His men gaze at you hopefully, looking for any indication as to what their fate might be. You leave them disappointed.
Because I feel like if we had told them he's lying, maybe they go in and kill him because they seemed super aggressive, right? They wanted to fight right away. But also, like, they don't really need to know much. The druid wants to get back his old home in Kuanacht. So let's see if this gives us an idea of what we need to do for this. Found the druid, but you need to get back his old home in order for him to help you. Oh, here, let's go to his... There we go. Let's go to his old home. And maybe we just need to clear this out for him. Maybe it's as simple as that. Let's do a... well... 17 to 22 isn't going to do it. We can just stun him so we don't take any attacks. Perhaps there's something inside his home we need to deal with.
You enter the house that once belonged to the druid, and the first thing you notice is the unbelievable stench of rotting flesh. Then a woman springs out of the dark and grabs you by the wrist.
Please, please don't kill us.
Jesus. Easy. What's going on?
You're...
She falls silent, realizing she took you for someone you're not. She stands up, takes a deep breath, and utters just 2 words.
Look around.
There are people all over the cramped interior, lying on the floor, covered in blankets, moaning in pain. They occupy every square inch of this place, save for some narrow paths left for their nurse, who this woman seems to be. But how does she nurse them? There's no medicine for the Red Death.
What is this? So this is like some type of hospice then.
It's a safe haven for the diseased. Travelers, townsfolk, people who would have died on the streets. All were taken by the Red Priest.
She explains, her voice cracking when she mentions the priesthood. You stand amongst the dying. The nurse looks at you with a quiet prayer on her lips. Who are the Red Priests?
Yes, the Red Scum.
She utters these words through her teeth. Seeing your confusion, she realizes you're not as convinced as she is and explains further.
It's not true that they burn everyone who's beyond help. They gather them round and send them off to the island asylum, and there they...
Voice cracks again and she goes silent. You stand among the dying. The nurse looks at you with a quiet prayer on her lips. Listen, I need you guys to leave. I got things to do. Looks at you in shock.
What?
You explain that the only man who knows how to help with the Menhir demands this house to be returned to him.
What do you suggest we do then?
I don't know, but I feel like I'm going to be involved. You're considering your options. Okay. What if... Could we build a new shelter? Probably the cleanest option here. See the woman's eyes glimmer with hope.
How would you even... The cost would be staggering. And the Red Priest won't take this affront lightly. The laws that let them take our sick are hundreds of years old. Breaking them would earn us a powerful enemy. Not to mention that an asylum next door would make people of Kuanacht nervous.
Okay, you're pointing out all the negatives. New options, build an infirmary. Okay, or new objective, sorry. What would happen if we handed them over to the Red Priests? Starts arguing with you, explaining once again why that's not a good idea.
If you decide to do it, it's on you. My conscience won't let me. Go on, talk to them. And if you do, I hope I'll never see you again.
And what if we wanted to ease their suffering permanently?
You start to explain that there's no point in keeping all these people alive, and that the medicine she's using to ease their pain can be used to get rid of it forever. She listens to you quietly, and you realize she's entertained this thought more than once.
There's not nearly enough medicine for everyone.
Well, that's kind of the point. Like, yeah, I don't think you could keep this up. There's another old-fashioned method of doing that. Ooh, this is going dark. When she understands what you're alluding to, she goes pale.
You are a monster. I won't be a part of this. If you want to kill them, do it yourself.
Considering your options, let me think about
Don't
this.
let me down. So, what's your decision?
We can end their suffering. We need 100 wealth to do it. Leave and I'll take care of it, or still thinking. So, we could possibly build an infirmary. And I think that's where these resources come into play, but I have no idea how to do that. There's our deck. There's any effects that we have. Last days of Kuanacht. The eviction. Hand them over to the Red Priests. They can be killed. You can build an infirmary that could house them. There's our passives. There's our rune. So how do we actually get things built here? Great question. Great question. Let's see what this is all about. Oh, here's the Red Priest. Oh, no. Okay. How do we build things in this area? Maybe we interact with the Menhir? Nope. Build an infirmary. What's in the ruins? Oh, here we go. This ruin can be rebuilt in order to establish a shelter for the sick. We need 300 gold? Well, I'll tell you this much. I'm going to do something really dark. I'm going to talk to the Red Priest. Oh, no. The red clothed tent in Kuanacht belongs to the Red Priest. Not many are brave enough to actually speak to members of this reclusive order that dates all the way back to the homelands. The fact that the law of the land lets Red Priests seize anyone on suspicion of sickness probably has something to do with this reluctance. Don't be afraid, child. Don't be afraid, child. We're here to help. Who are you people? Sends you a gaze full of disbelief and distaste. How can you not know? But then it seems he settles for an explanation that you're an uneducated villager who only recently found solace in Kuanacht. In a patronizing tone, he says, "We're the Red Priests, the last hope of humanity, besieged on one side by the Red Deaths, on the other by the Weirdness." How are you helping, actually? Well, obviously, we're trying to stop the plague and find a cure. It's not much of an explanation, but you know there's nothing new he could tell you about an illness that pushed humans out of their homelands beyond the sea, chased them all the way to Avalon, and now eats away at their remnants. For some, it's only an incurable disease that turns your entire skin into an open wound. Others came to see it as a force of history, a hand that will erase humanity from the face of the world. Yes, but how do you do that exactly? See a mixture of emotions in the man's face. He's angered by your impudence, yet at the same time happy because of your curiosity. That's not something I can easily explain, not without breaking the vows of my order. The exact work is kept secret by my superiors, but if you're really interested in learning our ways, we're always looking for hired help in the Island Asylum. Island Asylum? The island just off the coast, southwest from here. They say it was the first place where humans made landfall in Avalon. We found an ancient necropolis there, carved into 3 sides of a mountain overlooking a dark grove. We repurposed its halls and corridors as a hospital. The only way in and out of the island is by a ferry. If you bear the sign of the plague, there's no fee for crossing to the other side. What about the weirdness? Most people don't care if their neighbor turned into a misshapen monstrosity because of the plague or because of the word. It is us who they call regardless. We had to open a new wing of the asylum just for the word claimed. Red Death is an older and greater threat, but our work on curing it recently took a backseat. With the Menhirs weakening, we now see more victims of the weird than of the plague. Well, okay, I found a house full of those. Here in Kuanacht. He springs to his feet. The other priests are shocked. You're not sure if it's the proximity of danger that scares him or the fact that they somehow missed a house full of sick just under their noses. Tell us where it is. The high priest barks in order. The second you tell him, several men start moving in that direction with murderous looks in their eyes.
You look at the grim work
Damn.
red priests are doing inside the house, and it makes you sick to the stomach. Suddenly, you feel a tap on your shoulder. It's the druid.
That's unexpected. But the ends justify the means.
Oh, no. Okay.
Thanks for getting me house back.
I like that. So we were presented with a few opportunities, all of which were quite different. So if we wanted to kill them, it would have taken 100 gold, a little bit cheaper. If we wanted to build that shelter, it would have been very expensive, but maybe provide us with something helpful ongoing. And then this option is like turning them over to these freaks. Exciting scream comes from inside, cutting him off.
Mostly unspoiled. Now it's time for my part of the deal. As the Menhirs' inner aura fades, the statue...
Oh, whoops. I'm trying to scroll here. I can't scroll. There we go. As the Menhir's inner aura fades, the statue becomes more and more numb to the offering. You need to rekindle it with something new, something that never felt, magic from the homelands, powerful ancient magic. And where can I find it?
Kamelot would be my guess. Short of that, the family graves of your Lord Yvain might be a place to check. His ancestors date back to the homelands, after all. Go there and dig until you find a relic of old. Then burn it as a sacrifice to the Menhir. This should do the trick.
We mean should.
In days of old, Moonring knew everything about Menhirs. I was only fed scraps of this knowledge. If you care so much about the answers, maybe your people shouldn't have slaughtered most of the druids.
He grins, baring his blackened teeth, salutes you, and disappears in his home. Banished, lost, and dangerous completed. We did get him his home, but now we have to find an ancient relic in a certain tomb with lone graves. I said we would stop there, we get him in, but I kind of want to like see how crazy this is. I'm gonna head out here and see if it's something we can do today. This is cool, man. The storytelling, I remember that's what really gripped me the very first time I played this, and it's already done it again. The way that it's written is so good, and I'm liking the options that it presents. One thing I'd like to see, and I don't know if they're going to implement this because it's not in here now, but I would like to see like skill check based objectives. So like, you know, depending on how our character is or what type of attributes they have, if we have that kind of thing, it'd be cool so that certain options are available or not based on our character. It doesn't seem like that's the way that the game is going, and that's okay. Maybe that's just because I've been playing a lot of Wasteland 3, but yeah. The Maimed Knight. You have no trouble locating the graves. The family ruling Kuanacht since ancient days always made a point of being buried alongside regular townsfolk, though their ornate gravestones left no doubt as to their legacy. Ignoring the most recent burials, you walk along the alley until you reach 2 crumbling tombs, both some 4 centuries ago. If sages are correct, that's 200 years after the age of conquest, but perhaps some homeland relics could still be around. Or could still be around back then, yeah. One of the graves belongs to a child whose name was erased by winds, rain, and time. Another to a knight. According to the inscription, he fought in some war no one but scholars know or care about today. Let's open the child's grave. Tombstone is small and easy enough to move aside. Inside there's a lead coffin. Its seal's already broken, its lid resting in a crooked angle. Some ancient grave robbers were here before you. Interesting. Let's open it anyway. Pitiful pile of little bones, among them a lone toy, an ornate wooden figure of a knight that moves once you pull its cord. Takes you a while to realize the toy should rot through by now. There's a latent magic within it, and the toy's complexity seems to indicate it was made beyond the sea in ancient Camelot. Got a relic of the homelands. Let's check the knight's grave. You huff and push aside the marble cover of the sepulcher. Inside is a weirdly shaped casket made out of a material you've seen before. It might be the same stone out of which someone in the old days carved out the menhir in Kuanacht. You open the casket and see a crumbling skeleton dressed in ornate robe, a sword and a scabbard resting on his chest. Let's try to take the sword. It's magnificent. Despite its age and the fact it belonged to a renowned knight, it shows no sign of use. There has to be some magic at work here. Okay, let's try to lift the entire casket. It's too heavy, but the moment you attempt to move it, you feel a weird sensation all over your body. You leave the cemetery hoping you'll never have to go back here. Gravedigger completed. Now there is this knight here. Let's see this. How is this playing out? So eviction is done. Gravedigger. Find a relic of the homelands in an ancient tomb. Source of foreign magic it never tasted might do the trick. So we're going to try to give these to the Kuanacht. But let's see what's this maimed knight about. A lone figure stand. I have a feeling that the maimed knight is like a ghost or something based on the toy that we found. Well, and the other casket. A lone figure stands hunched at the path leading into Kuanacht Cemetery. You reach for your weapon expecting yet another obstacle, but your grip relaxes as you recognize a tattered cloak and broad shoulders. It's the maimed knight. Suspicions immediately flood your mind. He told you he wouldn't go out anymore, but here he is, no word candle in hand. You had to travel through pure weirdness to get here. The very thought of it chills you to the bone. Let's greet him. Make 2 louder steps and grunt to make your presence known. The maimed knight doesn't turn towards you, but he acknowledges you with a nod.
I didn't expect you here. Were you following me? Wasn't there something else you were to do?
Weren't you supposed to stay in Kuanacht? I don't think he's dead. He was the guy at the beginning.
I was, but I wanted to see this place one last time. Do not change the subject. Why are you here? Were you following me?
No, my search brought me here.
It is curious that our paths should cross then. Perhaps the All-Mother has ordained so.
Perhaps. Who lays here?
Nobody. Yet. Order is gone. So many knights missing. Gaheris tries his best in the borough. Bors has gone to the western farmholds to stop the war. Galahad is presumed dead since he abandoned the Round Table. But they don't have his insignia, so they can't name his descendant. And I'm stuck here, of all places. Please promise that should I fall, and I will fall sooner than later, you will do everything in your power to save this damned island.
The maimed knight turns around and walks away into the
see you at
weirdness.
farmhold.
That's cool.
Please make haste with your search.
Hey, offer him a word candle for a safe journey back. Sure. He stops for a moment.
No. What you're doing for Kuanacht now is far more important than my fate. Thank you for offering this, though. This was a knightly thing to say.
We got it back. He sets off once more. Then soon the tendrils of opalescent word close in behind him. What's interesting is we actually didn't need a weird candle to get out here. Looks like the... Oh, okay. Didn't mean to fight him, but we're fighting him. And then we're going to go back and see what these things do. Okay, so immune to stun. Oh, I should have went duel. It's moving a little too quick. He's not doing anything here anyway. Boom. I was just looking to see where the weirdness begins, but that place was really close. Okay, let's see what happens.
You approach the guardian menhir of Kuanacht with the relic. Looking at its cracked surface, you start to wonder whether it will be enough. As you prepare to lay the offering, you feel an imposing presence behind you. The maimed knight is standing just a few paces back,
course he
wrapped
is.
in his tattered cloak, hood obscuring his face. You never heard his footsteps.
So we can sacrifice a child's toy or the ancient sword. Having you behind my back makes me nervous.
It's not about your comfort. It's about the safety of this farmhold. Menhirs are ancient constructs, not to be trifled with. Even with my knowledge, I have no idea what will happen next.
We're going to do the child's toy because kids are creepy and it's a night and it should have been decayed, but it wasn't.
The flames begin to consume your relic, and you experience a familiar feeling. Things once again seem to come into focus as the Menhirs' protective power surges fast. Perhaps too fast. The stone almost seems to be trembling. Then something breaks.
Uh-oh.
Menhirs' power disappears in an instant. A chilling wail sounds in the air, coming from within the statue.
Small strands of weirdness begin to form in the air right in front of your face.
Finally, the Menhir itself begins to move. No. Something tries to move out of it. A dark, ethereal apparition.
What have we done?
With 4 arms and a 3-eyed mask.
Cool.
Step back.
The maimed knight throws back the cloak, and for a moment you are blinded. Beside you stands a true knight of the Round Table. His armor, though several hundred years old and mended in many places, shines in the torchlight like a falling star. The sight of his face, part of it twisted by weird, and the other part pristine like a portrait of some ancient hero, makes you stop in your tracks.
The same type of mutations that we saw outside the druid's place.
Raises his blade, honed in the fires of now lost homelands, and bellows.
I am Percival of the Round Table. Come at me, wretch!
The link between the apparition and the statue begins to fray as it springs toward the knight. Smaller shadows rise from the ground on both of its sides.
What is this thing?
A foredweller, one of the original masters of this island, trapped between life and death. The magic of the relic somehow eroded its bindings.
A spirit of humanity's deadliest foe, trapped in a protective statue created by Merlin. It seems too preposterous to be true.
And yet...
And yet the apparition is right there, before your very eyes.
I won't let them near you.
He nods his head, raises his sword, and steps towards the raging apparition, now connected to the Menhir with just one thin strand of pure magic.
Sick. Okay. Okay. This is... Okay. Let's go. Oh, we are gonna die. We are going to die. Listen to the music. Whoa. Okay. I don't know how we're going to deal with this, but depends how Percival does, I guess. We go cleave for 92. If we do this, it's 33. But if we go all in and then we do this, it's still lower. I'm going to go cleave. Like, there's no way we can beat this thing. Whoa. Plus 75 armor, immune to stuns. This foe is beyond you. I'd say so. Maybe we shouldn't have gave the children's toy. Listen to the music. What the frick? Fighting alongside someone as legendary as Percival himself, you feel as if your limits were broken. So we take less damage, and we deal out more damage. Still don't know what he's gonna do. Jeez. He's just blocking everything. What the heck? Preparing for a special attack. Reduce armor. I don't want him to hit me with the taunt. That's bizarre. Oh, the block is because of the shield. I gotcha. Run. Can we? Is that what this is, maybe? You can't retreat from this fight. Just face our doom here. Call of Kamelot. Minus 200 armor on all enemies for 6 turns. Actually, cleave would be good because I think these summons. So in the conquest run that I did yesterday, we ran into something that was summoning things like this, and they just take 1 hit. You can see they have 1 health. So if I do a cleave here, that's actually perfect. Oh, but I can't. Oh my god, what have we done? Ah, crap. Well, buckle up. That wasn't the play. Targeting random enemies, go. He's going to kill us. I'm gonna put on the block. Okay. So maybe it's possible, actually. We just have to get through all this armor. So we keep putting this on. I don't want to do taunts because he hits pretty hard. Let's keep stacking the armor debuffs. Wait, why didn't that trigger? What the hell? Seems like that did nothing. Maybe he's... Oh, it even says minus 200 armor, but he's at minus 125. We do have some food and stuff that we can eat. Not a lot, but... Use a barrier here. Okay. So he's preparing a special attack. We could cleave for 208. Which is basically the same as if we use all these other cards. 50 plus 90 plus 50. We still have this to pop off if we want. Restore full health. Oh, cool. Okay. So I see how this fight's going. I think... Okay, we'll probably be okay. It's only healing me. I thought it was going to heal there too, but guess not. Okay. Let's do all in and small strikes. So this one's real though. This one's not going away anytime soon. So I should have stunned it. I was thinking that it was going to operate the same way. Let's block. Percival's Guidance, 359. So maybe because this is a special thing, it's not showing in his true armor there, but it's just showing here. Let's focus the big guy. I'll put a block on. I'm gonna let this keep building, I think. Yeah, see, these are starting to hit really hard right now. I think we're gonna lose him. I'm just trying to see what we can get done here, but I think I'm gonna lose my buddy. Aura of Inspiration. So he healed us on his way out, but now we have all of these. Whoa. 1078, minus 200 armor. I'm gonna take the damage. Wow. What the frick is going on? What is this? Don't even need that. Percival's last stand. With last breath, Percival let out a mighty roar, felling the trees around you and chilling the very hearts of enemies. So minus armor. We can probably stun him now. Yep, and then we can go Executioner Strike. The bonus against stuns. If he's going to attack, we could apply a stun, but we don't have that. Let's do small strikes. Let's do crippling attack and then breathe to get energy for the next round. Okay, here's the thing we can kill. Cleave would have been nice, but don't have that. He's attacking for 0. Every turn doubles its damage. Let's just get rid of it. Stun him. We could take one of his attacks to get extra armor and further reduce his, or further reduce his armor, I should say. Oh, but he's stunned, so he actually doesn't take the hit back. That actually works out great. Having witnessed the death of Percival, you cannot fail him. 90% reduction in incoming damage plus 500. Oh, okay. So this is all, okay, this is all planned. Sick, though. I did not expect that. Look at this damage. Oh, disgusting. That's insane.
You stagger, the dying wails of Weirddspawn echoing under your skull. Red fog clouds your vision. You barely see Percival, falling to his knees and leaning heavily on his sword. Blood oozes from the gaps of his armor. The spirit screams one last time and reunites with the Menhir. The familiar feeling that everything is real and in focus returns. Percival collapses into the mud at the feet of the Menhir.
Walk up to Percival.
Swaying from side to side, you reach the knight. Now that the rags covering him are gone, you clearly see there are worse things than fresh, deep wounds on his body. The weirdness twisted his flesh and changed half of his face into a gruesome mask.
They called me the purest knight to ever sit at the round table. Look at me now.
He chuckles, choking on blood.
Require a bandage, call for help.
People of Kuanacht left their homes, but they're too afraid to walk up to the Menhir.
Yeah, I get it.
Instead, they watch from a safe distance and ignore your pleas.
You're the real Percival? Why didn't you tell us?
Your people, they would ask for my protection. I couldn't offer it. My mission required me to be on the move, search your lands.
Did we win? Is the Menhir restored?
For a while, yes. The relic jolted it to life.
That's so cool.
But it will fade again. You must carry on my mission. This wasn't supposed to happen. I have failed. Now, you must carry it in my stead.
Listen to what he has to say.
Percival's voice is fading fast.
In the old days, when archdruids still tended to the Menhirs, there was a rite that kept the statues working. Only few knew it. I was to recover it.
His body begins to shake.
To give Yvain time to deliver the Grail.
Wow, okay. Where can I find these rights?
Percival's face grows more pale with his every forced breath. You see his hand reaching up.
Please, my mind is slipping away. Find the rights. Help Yvain.
People of the farmhold gather enough courage to walk up to the Menhir. You find it hard to believe not a single one of them tried to help you and Percival. Maybe the night was right. Maybe you are this farmhold's last hope. You look at Percival's body again. Serene expression now frozen forever on his pale face. When a knight of the Round Table dies, people who found him are bound by law of the land to return his equipment and armor to Kamelot, so that, in time, a new knight might take his place. You also have to ensure his burial.
Whoa. We have to organize a proper burial.
Some people raise the knight carefully. Soon you're left alone at the foot of the Menhir. Kuanacht and its vicinity are safe. For the time being, there are no more long-lost heirlooms to sacrifice or legendary knights to come to your aid. As you look into the distance...
Whoops. I accidentally clicked.
Receding.
Dudes, that is so cool. Okay, what a good setup. I thought I was going to do this for like half an hour. We're like an hour and 10 minutes in. No big deal. This story, I think this is going to be so exceptional when it's fully released, man. I'm super pumped. There's obviously some balancing stuff they need to do. And I think there's some ways that they can improve combat just in terms of like, I would add better sound effects. I would add some more like animations to the enemies and stuff. But, oh man, the story I think is going to be exceptional. If they can keep up this writing style, I am pumped. Guys, I know this was longer than I planned. I hope you enjoyed it. That's going to be our little teaser. I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, check it out down below. This is apparently about 3 hours that you can get out of this early access view of the story. So obviously you can see in the map, I've barely gone anywhere. And all of this crazy stuff has happened. So you can only imagine. Guys, we'll see you soon. Can't wait for this one. Bye-bye now.